I got one coming to you from, this one came from Discover Magazine Twitter. The title of the article and the tweet was "Fasting and Exercise, a Perfect Pair?" Question mark. Perfect pair.
Perfect pair?
Like that, yeah. So the article delves into the idea that you can fast while doing exercising as well as strength training exercises and have it be somewhat beneficial for your body.
Okay.
So I was pretty interested in that. And I had first heard about intermittent fasting a few years ago from, what's the dude's name? Teddy Cruz, the Old Spice guy? What's his name?
Oh, Terry Crews.
Terry Crews.
Ted Cruz is
Ted Cruz
the
yeah,
politician.
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
So the best Old Spice commercials.
Yeah.
He's the dude. He's super jacked, super ripped, and he's a huge proponent of intermittent fasting.
Real quick, Terry
Yes.
Crews gonna be in the video game Crackdown 3.
He is. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Just
Nice.
as an aside. Yeah. Nice.
Cool. Yeah, he's the guy who he makes his pecs bounce.
Yeah.
And he does all the funny stuff.
Mhm.
And his claim to being that ripped was from intermittent fasting, and so that's coming straight out from the mouth of a celebrity. So at first, I didn't really take it too much into, I was like,
Yeah.
whatever. So I read about it more and more and more, and in this article, they mentioned that there is a well-known diet. It's called the 5-2 diet. So you eat normally for 5 days, and then on 2 days of the week, you have about 400 to 600 calories, about no carbohydrates, and you do a minor fast. So it's not like you're not eating, but you're basically taking your caloric intake and cutting it down by a fourth for those 2 days.
Okay.
And the benefits of this have been slightly unknown, and we've seen that people have had success on diets like this, and there's been books written about it. So this study tried to shed a little bit of light on it. So once again, we're studying mice, as usual.
Yep.
And they did a study of 4 groups of mice. They took mice and they fed them all kinds of different food variations from just letting them eat whatever they want. They had some mice on the 5-2 diet. They had some mice on the more extreme diet where they were getting even less food than the fasting.
Okay.
And then they also made them exercise on a mouse wheel.
Gotcha.
And they did this for a couple weeks. Let me see. How long was this done for? It was done for 2 months, actually.
Oh, wow.
2 months they followed these mice. And what they found was what you would expect if you were a proponent of intermittent fasting and exercise. And the thing to note, though, is that the thing that was improved was the endurance of the mice,
Okay.
which is interesting. So while they're fasting, that's where you get all your calories from your food. That's where you get all your energy from. The mouse's bodies used something called ketones, it's called.
Mhm.
So when you're not using glucose and sugar to burn for energy, you're using your ketones and you're burning fat directly to make energy.
Mhm.
They found out that's what the mice did, and it ended up giving them more endurance. So the mice who were fasting on the 5-2 diet and were exercising were the highest endurance, and it was 30% increase than the other 4 groups of the mice. Well, the other 3. The total was 4 groups. So in this study of mice, they're obviously not the perfect analog for people, but
Sure.
the mice endurance was increased by an intermittent fasting diet. Pretty interesting.
That is interesting. Have you ever fasted before?
I have, actually. I've been intermittent fasting for quite a few months now.
Oh, wow.
So for 2 days of the week, I don't eat until 5 p.m.
Wow.
And then I eat until around midnight. And then it goes to the next day until 5 p.m.
Okay.
So I've been doing the 5-2. And I did it not because I want to get my pecs flopping. I did it because I read an article about being in like a chronic stress, and me who's in chronic neck pain a lot of the time, that the suggestion was that the strain on your body for having to digest food in general just takes quite a toll on your body, and it might be better for your body to have some time out where you're not digesting food for certain portions of the week.
Interesting. Okay.
So I just gave it a shot, and I've actually not only have been losing weight, but I find that I do improve my function.
Wow.
And they've also talked about memory, and that's the next study that they want to do in mice. They believe it'll have the same effect as your physical endurance as well as on your mental capacity for memory
Huh.
as well. That's
Okay.
the next follow-up study.
Interesting.
So yeah, I've heard all kinds of crazy stuff, articles on Twitter about fasting, and here's my advice. Remember, you don't listen to Murtaugh's advice on Twitch. If you're trying to follow diets, you got to go to your nutritionist. You know what I'm saying? But what I would suggest is that if you're gonna fast, don't straight up fast. I found that when I did that, I sort of would get some type of headaches and things like that. So I supplemented half of like one of those little bars like Nature Valley, and then like a small protein shake mixed with branched chain amino acids instead of straight up fasting the whole day, and obviously drinking water throughout that period
Right.
until I eat.
Right.
And then only doing it for the 2 days though, and I like to separate them from like 1 day fasting, 3 days eating, 1 day fasting, 2 days, and then back.
Gotcha,
And
gotcha.
then the point I want to make though is that you should be exercising the whole time. That's the way your body's going to be able to start burning fat. Otherwise, you're going to actually end up storing more fat as well in your sugars if you're not in the process of burning it.
Right.
So that's my spiel on the intermittent fasting.
Cool. Can I tell you about my fasting story?
Yes,
real
you can.
quick?
Of course.
All right. So, when I was 19 or 20, I took a trip to California. Met up with a friend that was there. We hitchhiked across the kind of the West Coast,
Okay.
up to Portland, Oregon. And while I was there, I met numerous people that vouched for fasting. They were like, "Yeah, you
This
should do a
is a good
fast.
thing. Try
Yeah,
it,
you
yeah."
should try it out. It's really interesting. You should. It's a whole, personal experience.
Eye-opener,
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know. I certainly wasn't going to do it while I was traveling, but I got back and I was like, all right, I'm going to give this fasting thing a try. I'm going to try a 3-day fast, nothing but water and tea.
That's crazy for 3 days.
I know.
Yeah. I do it for like 16 hours in a total.
Right. And I had really no knowledge of what I was doing
You
at
were
all.
just going
right? I
for
was
it,
just, yeah,
yeah.
I'm just going to try it. So I stopped eating, was drinking a lot of water. First day, okay, fine, still kind of hungry, whatever. Second day, woke up, took a shower, got out of the shower, found myself in the kitchen just
Grabbing
grabbing things as if it was just kind of like normal routine. And then I had to actively remind myself, like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm fasting, right? Like, I gotta not eat. So, second day was rough. I ended up, I was living in my mom's basement at the time. Went downstairs, just kind of vegged out for a little while.
not a lot of
took
energy
a bunch
while
of
you're not
naps.
eating,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I woke up from one nap in particular, and I was like, all right, let me get a tea at least, get some
something,
flavor, going. And I was so out of it and just like so tired that I put the tea bag in some plastic cup or whatever. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna heat this up in the microwave because I couldn't even be bothered to go upstairs to
Yeah.
boil water. And I put the microwave on. I never put any fucking water in the cup.
Just put it in there.
So all of a sudden, the tea bag and the cup just ignited in flames, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god! What am I doing?" So I had to put that to rest, obviously. And then I was just mad, just pissed off at myself
Yeah.
because I had done that. So I just went back to sleep.
You're just like slightly delirious, food deprived. Yeah.
It was awful, yeah. And I woke up the next day, the third day, and I was like, I can't. I gotta eat. Yeah. So I gave up on that.
Yeah. I never tried a long-term fast. I've only done it for like the 16-hour period and then eat for that 8-hour period.
Yeah. Interesting about the endurance thing, though.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Being able to increase your physical endurance while strength training while fasting.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.